Martial Peak Chapter 13. Just you wait. When this was revealed, something clicked inside the heads of the onlookers. Many people could not help but turn to look at Sumu with disbelief in their eyes. So that was it. Yang Kai was satisfied that he had guessed correctly. Sumu really had an ulterior motive. Though he had thought it was something related to profit or reputation. He hadn't thought it was actually for his own sexual desires. He had also met the boss daughter. Even though she wasn't outrageously beautiful, she was still a work of art. Alluring body, delicate features, slim figure, and the most beautiful girl in the entire village at only 14. Such a young girl, unfortunately, had caught Sumu's eye, provoking such trouble. What utter rubbish! Sumu's face was as red as a tomato, trying to deny the truth. Sneering, the men continued to say, "I have said no lies. Even though us two brothers have our faults, and do some criminal acts, slandering boss he and poisoning his rice, this we would never do. Fellow people, you should know that sabotaging others' livelihoods is equal to sabotaging my own. So how can I survive? Everything was instigated by this little brat." This statement was very sincere, causing everybody to start laughing. In a timely manner, Yang Kai asked, after this was over, how much did he promise to give? 52 silvers. The men replied. 52, that's a lot. Yang Kai softly said while nodding. During this banter, boss he was listening carefully. This made him understand the situation thoroughly. Turning towards Sumu, he angrily said, "You despicable person. You actually dared to use such dirty methods to get my daughter. Thankfully she has eyes and saw your true face. Ah, how could Sky Tower have such a degenerate disciple? You are ruining your school's good name. You are vain and selfish, with a character completely opposite to Brother Yang. I feel ashamed for your mother and father." Surrounding merchants also started to feel more contempt towards Sumu's outrageous acts. Sumu's face was bright red, for he knew that he could no longer come back to Black Plum Village. For his mask had been taken away and his true face revealed. And the source of all his misfortunes was in front of him. This disciple. If not for him, he would have been able to win the boss' favor and further his reputation. That would have made it easier to curry the daughter's love for him. But all that planning had gone to waste. Not only had he failed to gain any reputation, he had also lost reputation he had previously for being a disciple of Sky Tower. Under that situation, Sumu put on a calm face and turned towards Yang Kai and asked, "Brother, how may I call you?" "You guess." Yang Kai replied with a wink. Taking a deep breath, Sumu said, "Though you may choose to withhold your identity, I will able to find out. For you have already entered the school for 3 years, yet you are not an official disciple. That means you are a trial disciple, and within the entire school, there are only a few of you. Finding you will be simple." When he finished, he immediately turned around and left. In the end, he did have some strength. For those who blocked his path, he pushed them to the side. Waltzing away unhindered. When he had left, the people had only just remembered the 2 Han men. But where were they? There was no trace, for when Yang Kai and Sumu were arguing, they had sneakily ran away. The debacle had finally been resolved. Yang Kai was satisfied, for he had exposed the deceit, gained approval from the merchants and boss. He was especially grateful to him. That waiter also looked at Yang Kai in worship. After the crowd dispersed, the boss wife also came out. Taking Yang Kai's hand, the more she looked, the more she came to like him. On the contrary, boss he was full of worry. "Virtuous nephew Yang, today you have offended Sumu. I'm afraid that in the future, this will cause you ceaseless trouble." After this incident, boss he started to refer to Yang Kai more intimately. "Afraid?" Yang Kai just smiled. "The main gate has its own rules, so even if he hates me to death he can't do anything. Even so, you must be careful, nephew. If because of your involvement in this matter you were to suffer misfortune, then I as your uncle would worry greatly. I will be careful," he consoled. Yang Kai was immensely grateful to the he couple for extending a helping hand. They even insisted he stay for dinner. Originally Yang Kai wanted to, but was scared away by the boss wife. "Little Yang, where are you parents? Where do you live? Have you married already?" Looking at this, clearly the boss wife wanted to become his mother-in-law. Knowing this, Yang Kai hurriedly left. When he left, he was carrying a bag of white rice, but it far surpassed the amount 20 silvers could get you. So for an entire month, Yang Kai didn't have to worry about his meals. Originally, Yang Kai was worried that Sumu would ambush him on his way back. For as innocent as Sumu looked, he was a sinister and treacherous snake on the inside. This was not impossible. Though, even when Yang Kai returned, Sumu hadn't appeared. He thought about it carefully. Not attacking was the correct choice. Even though duels between disciples often resulted in death, the main gate didn't allow the needless killing of others. In short, if Sumu had attacked on his way back to the school, then when things leaked out, it would have resulted in his own doom too. If he wanted to deal with Yang Kai, then he would definitely come to challenge him, while making a fuss too. As for the matter of Yang Kai's identity, there is no doubt that he would be able to find it. In the Sky Tower, as long as Sumu inquired a bit, then naturally he would find his identity. Sumu's true strength, Yang Kai didn't fully see, but he most definitely was at the peak of the tempered body. The only thing was he didn't know what stage exactly. Seems like he must focus more on his practices. Otherwise, Yang Kai truly couldn't continue staying at Sky Tower. Knowing this, Yang Kai swiftly returned back to his hut to practice. At this hour, he was unable to practice the tempered body record, but he could practice the basic skills that the school gave. These basic skills were to establish the foundations for the tempered body, to achieve spiritual consumption beyond his own body. This was the aim. Yang Kai's previous usage of the Shaolin arts and the leg whip were all based around his foundation work. If not for this, then the skills couldn't be considered true martial arts. They would only be considered as the basic of basic skills, essential for all schools and families. To the left of Yang Kai's hut, there a wooden figure. This was made, from a century-old tree, by Yang Kai to practice on. Small dents were littered over it, there were even traces of blood. These were all made through Yang Kai's many days of diligent training. Assuming his position, Yang Kai started to hit the wooden men. He infused all his might into each strike, beating the wooden men relentlessly. Pang, pang rang out as he struck the wooden men. However, after a few strikes, he felt that something was amiss. It was his own fists and legs, so he clearly felt that they were stronger than before. From the strike and the sound it made, all of them were stronger and more stable, incomparable to before. And over time, his hand and the bones started to feel numb and warm. This clearly indicated that he was stimulating his meridians, increasing his atmospheric affinity. Reaching the tempered body fourth stage gives birth to the atmospheric affinity, developing your meridians further and allowing you to sense the energy more clearly. This warm feeling was Yang Kai's meridians developing.